Y'all. Okay, I literally just went through probably, I don't know, a good hour on a whole nother video giving a commentary, and then I realized that I wasn't streaming. So from 2:22 when this stream was set to start until 3:26 it is right now, my ass been sitting here talking about some stuff. And it was good too. It was good, but I missed it. So I switched because first I was like, I am not doing that again. But then I was like, you know what? No, because it's a blind reaction. It's so many different videos. But I do want to, this one is going to be different. I'll come back to Taraji's, um, I honor her for her empathy for other um, actresses and those that follow her, and I honor her for her body of work. So it goes without saying that she should be paid, and she shouldn't have to feel like she's begging to be paid, right? And so I'm not gonna, because if my mom watched this, she's gonna be like, you ever going in that hole, and I don't want to do that. But I am going to say this one thing: we should not have to beg um, for pay, for equal pay to pay that's being paid to other people. We should not have to bypass a system that we don't know what the system is in order to obtain a bank loan. We should not have to have a report or reporting or redlining in our neighborhoods that make and allow for the same gas stations in our neighborhood to lock the door and tell us we cannot come inside, and they are operating in our neighborhood, so that after a certain time, the only time, if your baby is having a fever and you need medicine, you have to drive across town to get it because all the stores are locked after that time. Like that should not exist anywhere in America, but it does. Okay, so we just gonna come off the top with that. It doesn't take a whole episode to go there. But now what I accidentally upon is this color purple Q&A with director Blitz B. Let's call him Blitz B because I don't want to mess with his name. Oprah Winfrey, Scott Sanders, and actors Taraji P Henson and Danielle Brooks. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm not necessarily going to comment or editorialize what they're saying. We're going to watch it together. It's 27 minutes. I will only pause because I saw like the first maybe 3 minutes, I think, somewhere in there, maybe 5 or something. I clicked through, and the faces is what I want to analyze. And so as you know, I study human behavior and brain behavior because I'm trying to figure my own self out, but also because I intuitively can pick that up. And so we'll see if you agree with my intuition on these. Let's just see what's going on. Now, this is 11 days ago, so this is before Taraji's whole video went viral.
Next, I would like to introduce her fellow producer, Scott Sanders. The brilliant visionary behind this film, the director, yes, anyway. Golden Globe nominated. Oh, thank you. Golden Globe nominated. Next, I would like to introduce the Golden Globe nominated Danielle Brooks. Taraji P Henson. Okay, so I'm going to get into it really quickly.
And Fantasia wowould be here, but her plane got delayed and mechanical problems and all that. She just landed? Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to just jump in right now. I mean, first of all, congratulations. This has been an amazing. So I want to start with you, Oprah. It's always so, I've interviewed you 5 times.
But make it 6 today.
Yeah, first time on stage, so to interview Oprah is like, I can't. Anyway, but let's begin. So you first fell in love with this book, but I remember you saying you.
First, let me ask this question: who is the cameraman? Who is the cameraman? That's all. Unless he's trying to say something to us. Like, who is this cameraman? It must be the person who gets paid when the social media stuff here in the back, like up at the top, when that's in the middle of the screen. Because what the... Okay, but let's keep going.
You read the book review, and then you ran to the bookstore in Baltimore, and then you sat in that bookstore and just read the whole story, and then you kind of became an evangelist for this. And then
I'm going to turn this up.
You the movie so godly, and then God kind of just had to change your
God
life.
intervention, no question.
Yeah, and then your life changed, and the movie, the book, and then Broadway musical, and now we have a movie, and so a musical. So I guess I want to ask you, what was it that you saw in that moment when you first read the story that enabled you to come back to it over and over and over again?
I saw myself in the story. Dear God, I'm 14 years old. Please explain what's happening to me. And I was going through sexual assault from 9 to 14, asking God the same questions. And I couldn't.
Trigger warning, sorry. A little late, trigger warning. Did not know that was coming.
Not believe that there was a story in a book by Alice Walker that had really my name on it. I thought, wow. So it felt validating. And by the end of the story, I felt a sense of hopefulness. I felt empowered by Celia's story, her connection to Shug and Sophia. And I know that everything that Alice Walker wrote down in that book back in 1982 when it was first released is still as vital today as it was then. We need hope. We need a sense of forgiveness in our lives, and we need to believe that the power that is the life force of God is within each of us, and we each can discover it. So the message is even more relevant today as we become social medialized and we become AI'd and all of the things in technology in the world that take us away from the essence of ourselves. So I think, again, for me, it was God's timing that the book showed up when it did, that the movie showed up when it did, that the Broadway play showed up when it did, and now we're showing up for you! Again, it's all, God's got it.
So Scott used to work for Peter Gruber, who bought the rights to the book that became the movie. But I remember you telling me that you saw the musical in the book, and so Peter was like, okay, go ahead, you see it, I don't necessarily see it. What enabled you to see the musicality of this story and to adapt it to Broadway and now to put it onto the big screen? So what was it about either your relationship with the story?
Thank you.
What did you see
Soothing Zen sounds.
Two moments that inspired me. One was Celia as a character. Reading the book,
Okay. Now, if you noticed, and this is what I'm doing, it's just kind of facial reactions. When Oprah was talking, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. Scott Sanders. His eyes were open. And then, I mean, not to say like anything, I'm just noticing that. And then now you're noticing his eyes close. I don't know. I noticed silly stuff.
Protagonist, fiction or nonfiction, that inspired.
I'm auditory, so I do close my eyes when I listen sometimes. But
through the headwinds that she went through in her life, and not only
he's back with us.
Own journey to find her own voice, and to be seen and to be loved, define love, but also had the grace to be so loving to Sophia and Harpo, and Harpo, who's the son of the man who's doing all these things, and Shug Avery. And so I was, as a gay man, I was also very moved by the Celie-Shug relationship, and I felt like that had room for exploration and continue to move further past that. And then I think the second thing was, this is a strange thing to say, but I'm old enough that I was the first year of desegregation in Florida and went to an all-black high school. And
oh, that's the secret.
and
I knew there was a black woman in there somewhere. All this time, I never heard that story. Okay, that's it. All right.
And we're making news. And I knew the joy that how music lived in the black culture, and how, regardless of whatever you were going through, that music was a fuel, was a spiritual energy to get through the day and get through life. And so both of those things sort of inspire me to say, this story has music in its soul. I feel like it should be on Broadway. There weren't enough diverse shows being produced on Broadway. I ran a Radio City Music Hall for a really long time, but I never produced on Broadway. And so when I went in to do this, it was very naive. I just thought, well, we'll just make a musical. And,
You put up a lot of
that's
great
another
money.
story.
Yeah. So thank you for this. Thank you for envisioning this. So Blitz. I have so many questions for you because I'm a super film nerd, but I'm going to just start with, well, thank you for doing this. Thank you for reimagining this for us. Two parts here. What was your pitch when you were on the Zoom?
Okay, I'm not interested in this. I want to get to Taraji
and whenever I could draw it, I knew I could see it, and if I could see it, then I could.
I just want to get to Taraji. It's going to be the big mountain because that's where everybody's going to clap. I mean, not that everybody else isn't important. I'm not saying that, but I'm really just trying to find out what Taraji's saying here. And then we'll go to what's recent. Okay, so let's hit it right about there.
Everyone knows that, but like you just do such a beautiful job singing those songs.
Oh, Taraji's singing.
It makes you so powerful.
I gotta go see this movie.
Wow, my heart is pounding, just like it was the day you called and said that you wanted me to be your sugar. My heart started pounding because when someone believes in you, you want to rise to the occasion for them. This man saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. But she scared the hell out of me. And that's how I pick my characters. Because if the character doesn't scare me, then what am I adding? What am I bringing?
What is the cameraman doing?
Overcome. If I can overcome the fear, then me playing this character, I'm being transformed. The audience has no choice but to transform. So.
Oh, you know what? I bet they gotta hide. Maybe he's hiding it or something.
So I just went back into my, what I did in college, how I trained in college. It's like riding a bike. You never forget. I ran from music because I became a mother really young, and the music industry.
There we go. There we go.
Spiritually, it was dark. There was no protection. There was no union. I'm a mother. I need insurance. I need to make sure me and my baby are okay. And I just didn't want to go down that dark road, so I headed.
Ooh. Okay, so you see where she's going with that? She's already hitting on. Look at the face. Look at the face of what's her name? Child, I don't know. Danielle Brooks. So the energy is coming off of Taraji and out of Danielle Brooks's face, but we can't see the other people right now. But Taraji, you are a beautiful queen, honey. You do you, and don't let these people make you stop doing what God has purposed you to do.
West and apply.
Well, I don't know if God purposed you to do it or not. Let me take that back. I take that back.
And I'll never forget, before my father passed, he died like 3 days before I had to sing His Heart Out Here for a Pimp at the Oscars. We were singing about pimps and hoes at the Oscars.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he said to me, he said, and he sowed these seeds in me when I was really young, you're going to be one of the greatest actors alive, but wait until the world hears you sing. I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe somehow this is because of him. Because I ran from Suge on Broadway, I was so petrified. I was like, I can't pull that off. My voice will never survive 8 shows a week. But she came back the way that I could make her live and thrive. So whatever's destined for you is gonna come.
Absolutely.
Is what I'm trying to say to you. So, cut to, I get the role. I started listening to Bessie Smith. I found Ida Cox, who told me wild woman don't have the blues. I found the singer Pygmy Terry, who talked about the Black Sheep's blues. Now you're speaking to me and my character, Suge. So there were nights that I would lay in the tub with my bubbles, that scene and the phonograph, and I would relive that scene, listening to these women sing to me their blues. And I took on their blues, and it became Suge's blues. And that's how she was born. Like, I have a thing where if I don't feel it right away, I put the script down and I go, talk to me. My dog thinks I'm crazy. Because if I don't catch it right away, I don't want to project. I let the character speak to me. What we do as actors is very spiritual. You're on set, and that's why I don't pick a lot of roles, because it's spiritual, and I'm all alive and I'm open and my chakras are open. And I'm letting
she's
this
an empath.
Use
Absolutely,
my body as a vessel
she
to
is.
tell its truth. And so when I'm open like that, a lot of energies can't be around me.
That's right. That's right.
Because energy is strong, y'all. And you gotta be particular about who you keep around you.
Oh,
seriously.
Priestess.
If they down and they cloudy and they downtrodden, and if they got a cloud around you hanging around, you think you're not gonna get wet? You gotta be very careful. So I'm very particular about the projects that I take on, because that's spirit. You understand? But I felt safe here by the people and the energies that he chose. I could not wait to meet them. I could not wait, because I knew I was safe. And in order to create and to be uninhibited, you have to feel safe. And you created that space for me. And so I just did what I do. You know, I looked at this script, and you know, I had a lot of people ask me, did you watch the old one? No, because I'm a great mimicker. I mimic really well. I know that about me and my instrument, so I could not watch it. I left it in its classical place in the canon. And I treated this script like any other script I would get. It was brand new. It was fresh. And for me, the exciting part was that a Black man was telling this story.
Yes.
That we get to own our narrative. And listen, y'all know I've been doing this. And I've told a lot of incredible African American stories, but there is a difference when we get to tell the story. And that is what you see and feel coming off the screen, because we aren't downtrodden. We have had so much happen to us. We turn our trauma into celebration. Hush puppies was used to keep the slave trappers from us. And what we do, dip those hush puppies in our black eyed peas and do the electric slide, eating our trauma.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so that's who we are as a people, and that's what you displayed. It's upbeat, it's vibrant, it's colorful. And that's why so much healing is going to come from this color purple, because it's time, Black people. It's time.
So when the movie originally came out, as it was beautiful, it was amazing, stunning performances, and there was a deep backlash against Alice Walker. Her friend Beverly Guy Sheftall described she was the most hated Black woman in America at the time when the movie came out. And you were there. You were part of the movie.
I was there going into the Oscars, 11 nominations.
Right, nomination.
NAACP was standing outside protesting
Yeah.
as we went in. And it had been a really challenging time. I remember being on the set
Okay,
and Quincy
wow.
Jones saying
So
that the NAACP...
let me just pause right here. I think that's it. That's basically the gist. But here is the clip that I want to talk about.
And I heard on the street, Taraji, you had the audacity to say you're thinking about stopping acting. We said, stop talking. Are you thinking about it?
Tell you what that face says. I know, and I've been there. When you've done something and you made that decision because you were proud, you felt honored, you felt safe, and then you realize after the fact that you feel like you sold your soul, whether you did or not, you feel that. That's what her face is saying. That's what her face is saying.
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. Well, have to. The math ain't mathing. And when you start working a lot, you know, you have a team. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. The fact that we're up is a whole entire team behind us.
Yeah.
They have to get paid. So when you hear someone saying, oh, such and such made $10 million, no, that's not, that didn't make it to their account. Know that off the top, Uncle Sam is getting 50%. Okay? So do the math. Now we have $5 million. Your team is getting 30% or whatever your team is off of what you grossed, not after what Uncle Sam took. Now do the math. So I'm only human, and it seems every time I do something and I break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
I get that.
It wears on you, you know? Because what does that mean? What is that telling me?
What is it telling me? Yeah. And what does it tell me?
And you know what? I got chills, because if this were me, that is me. Like, we gonna be transparent and we gonna tell the truth. We're not gonna sit here and play this game. And I understand that the purpose of this meeting is to promote the color purple and not to bring out its, dark side or whatever. But the truth is just the truth. And the truth is as she sees it, right? As she sees it. And so I honor that. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah.
You know? And if I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the fuck am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, don't apologize. Don't apologize. I think it's an important message for people to hear, because we see the lights, camera, action.
And then they tell me we don't translate overseas.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing that my entire career, 20 plus years in the game, and I hear the same thing, and I see what you do for another production, and when it's time for us to go to bed, you don't have any money. They play in your face.
Yep.
And I'm just supposed to smile and grin and bear it and just keep, like, enough is enough.
Yep.
That's why I have other things.
Preach.
I have my TPH brand. I have my mental wellness. I have other things, because this industry, if you let it, it'll steal your soul. But I refuse to let that happen.
That energy, let me just say.
There's a song in there about...
I don't know what I just did. Let me just say real quick. That energy is floating. Like, I feel that. She is definitely an empath. And there is a heavy energy that's out right now. And my mom, because I don't care, we can be talking about breakfast sausage and right, exactly. Red state, blue state, absolutely. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, that energy is floating around. I know in America, because that's where I am, and in Texas, that's where I am. I don't know about other countries, but there is an energy, and obviously she's an empath because she's absolutely feeling it. And my mom would be ready to cut off the computer if she was here right now. But if she's at home, love you, Mom, because she'd be mad at me going in this hole. But to me, you got to tell the truth. And if people can't handle the truth, then they can't. And that's not your circle. And that's okay. And I get it, because Mom is like, yeah, but your circle pays you. And I get that too. And there are a lot of people who feel this. And my mom, in all due respect, comes from a generation where all of this stuff. Oh, awesome. Good. My mom comes from a generation where all of this stuff is kept secret. You don't bring this stuff out in the street. You leave this in the background. You don't say this. You don't be this. You don't cry out around strangers. You keep what's in this house. What happens in this house stays in this house. And, overall, America in general is one of the best marketed countries in existence. And anytime this kind of thing goes viral, it upsets the picture, right? The American dream picture that's out there. And so I hurt for and with Taraji. But let's finish listening. This is not very long, so it's 9 minutes. So we're going to get through this one and cut it off.
There about life can never break your soul. It's a quote from one of the songs that Holly sings in the movie. It seems like...
Sorry, I want to thank you guys for passing through and saying hi to me. Thanks so much. And please follow and like and all of that good stuff and give me some feedback. Thank you.
This is the right time for people to hear something like this, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was deliberate, wasn't it, Blitz?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, everything you did in this movie was deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I mean, just
hearing that is...
Yes. And
we have to take that in for a minute.
I have
we really
to.
do.
I
don't want to gloss over that.
I mean, and T, just so you know, calling you was giving you your flowers.
Uh-huh.
I just want you to know that.
Pause. You don't get to say to me calling you was giving you your flowers, because flowers don't pay the bills. Flowers don't get my son through college. Thank you for my flowers. You could have sent me flowers and I could have said thank you. Pay me, bro. And I understand that he probably did not and was not able to get the same money that other movies got, or the producer or whatever. I get it. And then that's basically what she's saying. But flowers do not pay the bill. And you should not have to turn down something that might have been your life's dream when someone else can make 2 to 10 times that for the exact same thing. It just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. But I get it. And I got something to add, but I want to see, she may say it. So let's just watch.
We've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the challenges. And for me, you, Fantasia, Danielle, knowing how hard they fought to not have you all here,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing how hard we had to fight to ensure that, is what you just said right now rings so true.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be brave, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be brave. And I'm sure there are filmmakers here or listening.
Okay, I'm gonna translate. We have to be brave, and what you said is right. And we had to fight so hard to get all of you here, because they didn't want to give us any money to have all of you. They gave us enough money for one of you, And so everybody else would have been a new up and coming actress. So we wanted big names, we wanted big brands, but they only paid us enough for one of you. So if there's 5 of you, then each of you are only going to get 20% in order for us to have all of you, or you're going to have to just keep it moving. So that's the translation of that. And this is the same thing that we see in business. And as a CPA, I see it all the time. And so this very thing right now is what creates the hard money lending, the merchant advance, the payday advance, those industries that are predators in our community. They are created. So there is a pocket exchange between the banks and them. And if the banks don't give us the money, but we want to do something big, we have to go alternative routes to do that, which usually ends up selling our soul. And so obviously that hit a nerve with me, but let's just let him finish.
To this podcast, you have to go with your heart, and
you had to fight for this.
You had to fight for this. Single one of them, and
what was the fight for you? What was the what was the pushback?
Well, first of all, it's exactly what you're saying, T, which is that, especially for black women, and I'm going to be very specific. It was like you were never here.
Absolutely.
And the fact that each one of you, every single one of you, had to audition for this role.
Shut up!
Roles that were second nature to you.
Second nature, yes.
Roles that no one should even question. Just the minute the name comes up, the question is, how much do you have?
Absolutely, red state, blue
state.
state.
Something very important here, that especially, it's not enough just to come in and be
right. Zen sounds, yeah, mine
too. To come in, be a therapist, be a friend, be a brother, be a champion. Understand that we have to break cycles. Understand that what happens here is going to be, it's going to be an example. And every time that I look now, and I've seen this movie now, I don't know how many times, because I have to sit through it all every time.
Do you sit through it and watch it from beginning to end?
As often as I can.
Because you want to hear the audience reaction?
That, but also, I've run into people who are like, oh, I've seen this movie 3 times already. First of all, I'm going, how? Seriously, because we just started. And that's what I told you when I run into you today, is knowing how much the original, how many times the rewatch value.
Yes.
I've been so moved knowing how much people how many times over. That's the real gift. The real gift is that this is going to keep giving. And the work that you guys have done in this film is going to inspire way beyond what we can see.
Amen, yeah.
Right? And that, for me, ultimately, there's no reward they can ever give us for that. Knowing the healing power that exists in this work, because we all came in harmony to do that healing work. I mean, most times rehearsal with therapy, we'll literally read a few lines, talk about the scene, and then we break into family. And I know this person likes it. My own uncle is like, my own father's like, my mother went through this. And before you knew it, we had built this real bond. And so I say this to say,
and that bond came very quickly.
Very quickly. Yes. But I also say this: you've got to choose right. You know, if you're a director, it's a huge responsibility, because you're going to be the one with them every day. No one should tell you who to pick for this work. It is sacred work. Again, going back to that. And if our collective faith, I say this all the time, your faith in me, my faith in you, is how this movie comes together. There's no amount of paying a superstar to come play Suge will give this performance. This is you believing, right? And so I say that to say, I hope the work we did.
Look at Taraji's face, y'all. She is, so I am just making this up. I don't know if this is true, But to me, that face looks like Nick. Please. That's what that face looks like. I recognize that face.
Breaks those terrible and discriminatory ways. They get to see that we did it our way and we won. And I think, you were saying something earlier, Danielle, about just seeing it, being 15 and seeing it as possible. And I think that, I hope that a director will see it. And I have to be also very honest, watching Ryan Coogler do a similar thing. Yes. Picking people he loved and trusted, right? And I watched the love and camaraderie that they had during those press runs for The Color Purple, and I said, "Thank God, I can see that." And so,
Black Panther,
and I remember saying, "This is what I want for myself. When my time comes, I want people I love who love me." Yeah, right. And hopefully now somebody now has two. They can go Black Panther and The Color Purple. Oh, I remember that Color Purple press run. Yeah, it was a thing. Yes. And that's what I want.
It is a thing, though.
And that's what I want. And I think that that's what this is all about, is just being exemplar. And having something that somebody can look at and go, wow, that's something to aspire to.
Yes. Right.
Interesting. So I'm going to pause right here. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I that was it. I mean, there's nothing much more I'm going to talk about with that. I wanted to see what was going on with Taraji. They did not show the part on that particular piece where she's crying about the pay. As a matter of fact, I'm assuming that because she's still fully made up kind of here. So that breakdown is going to come after after this whole thing, is my assumption, but I don't know. I'll have to find it and watch it later when I have more time. I thought I was going to stream this earlier at 2:22, but since I did not, then, at this point, we're going to cut it short. Thank you guys for stopping through and saying hi. Continue to like, follow, subscribe. Let me know on my page what you like. The other page, Kedra A. Flowers, or Kedra Flowers CPA on YouTube, is where now I'm going to be moving the FOIA information and all of that stuff so that we can separate kind of my entertainment and fun stuff like that and like this from the business channel, and so that when you're trying to figure out what you need to do on that tax return, you can just get to where you don't have to go through all these. All right, thanks so much for passing through. You're so welcome, Red State, Blue State, and I will see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye.